Carl Jung discovered a brutal truth about decision-making. You don't make them, your unconscious does. Every choice you've ever claimed as yours has already been whispered into your ear by the hidden forces inside you. The shadow, the archetypes, the instincts buried in the abyss. They decide. And then, like a fool, you dress it up with logic and call it free will. That is the lie you live. Better decisions in life are not born from chasing more options or gathering endless advice. They are forged in confrontation, with your darkness, with your fears, with the silent motives that shape you without your consent. Jung knew, until you drag these shadows into the light, they will dictate your fate, and you will mistake slavery for choice. The Stoics understood this too. Clarity comes not from comfort, but from stripping away illusion. Tonight, you will learn to cut through. You will learn to choose as one who cannot be broken. Through these 10 revelations, you will not just decide, you will become the decision itself. Revelation 1. The Shadow's Compass. Every decision you make is guided by a compass you refuse to acknowledge, and it is not your logic, nor your morality, but your shadow, the repressed, unspoken, unwanted parts of you. Jung knew this. What you do not make conscious will rule your life, and you will call it destiny. You think you choose your partner because of love, your career because of reason, your habits because of willpower. No, you are led by the darker hand beneath, by hunger you've never admitted, by wounds you never healed, by rage you pretended to bury. The shadow is ruthless. It doesn't care for what you say you want. It moves you toward what you most deny, and until you face it, every decision you make will be sabotage in disguise. To make better decisions, you must first look at the ugliness within and ask, what am I avoiding? What am I terrified to admit about myself? That is your true compass. The Stoics tell you to strip away illusion. Jung demands you descend into yourself. And only when you can stare into the shadow without trembling can you decide with clarity. Otherwise, you are nothing but a puppet. Right now, I want you to write in the comments, I choose to confront my shadow. Make it yours, carve it into your mind, because the moment you declare it, you begin to pull the strings back into your own hands. Revelation 2. The Tyranny of Choice. You think freedom means endless choice. But Jung and the Stoics would both tell you that freedom collapses when options multiply, because the more paths you see, the more fractured you become, the more shadows creep in to whisper confusion, and the more you drown in hesitation. The modern world feeds you the illusion that more choice equals more control, yet the truth is the opposite. Every unnecessary option weakens your will, scatters your attention, and leaves you paralyzed in a labyrinth of your own making. The Stoics sharpened their blade by saying, decide only what is necessary, cut away the rest. Jung would echo, the unconscious delights in overwhelming you with temptations and false roads, not to liberate you, but to watch you wander aimlessly, trapped in indecision that feels like freedom. To make better decisions, you must learn to embrace limitation. You must dare to chain yourself to fewer paths, for in the chains lies clarity, and in clarity lies power. Discipline is not restriction, it is liberation, because when you willingly remove excess, what remains stands before you with brutal clarity, demanding courage instead of confusion. You are not meant to chase every door. You are meant to recognize which door leads you deeper into your own becoming, and then shut all the others without regret. Better decisions are not born from having more, they are born from having less, and wielding less with absolute conviction. Comment now. I cut away the noise. Write it, claim it, because the moment you strip away the excess, you no longer wander. You carve through life like a blade, untouchable by the chaos of infinite choice. Revelation 3. The Mask of Persona. Every decision you make is infected by the mask you wear, the persona you crafted to survive in a world that demands obedience. And though you call it your personality, your character, even your reputation, it is nothing but a costume stitched together from expectation, fear, and the desperate hunger to belong. Jung warned that the persona is necessary, but poisonous, necessary to navigate society, poisonous when it dictates your choices, because when you decide from the mask, you betray the self. How many times have you said yes when you burn to say no? How many times have you chosen safety over authenticity? How many times have you silenced your hunger because the mask demanded conformity? Every false decision you make through the persona rots your life from the inside, leaving you resentful, hollow, and enslaved to the opinions of others. The Stoics spoke of indifference to external noise. What they meant was the courage to choose without bending to the mob. To make better decisions, you must learn to strip the mask away, not in public, but in the solitude where no one is watching, where you can ask, what do I actually want? Not as an actor, not as a mask, but as the raw self beneath. If you cannot answer, you will forever live for others, not yourself. True choice begins where the persona dies, and if you dare to kill it, your decisions will no longer be fragile, they will be absolute. Now write in the comments, I am not my mask. Seal it into your mind, because the moment you declare this, your choices shift from performance to power, and you step closer to becoming untouchable. Revelation 4. The Stoic Blade. Decision-making is not about accumulation, it is about amputation, and the Stoics knew this, which is why they trained themselves to cut away everything unnecessary with the cold precision of a blade. Because when you cling to comfort, to luxury, to opinion, you cloud your judgment with noise and lose the ability to strike clearly. The art of deciding well is the art of subtraction, of ruthless detachment, of saying no with the force of iron. And Jung would agree, because he understood that the unconscious thrives on clutter, feeding you illusions, distractions, and excuses to keep you weak, to keep you spinning in endless loops of half-decisions that never resolve. You must learn to wield the Stoic blade, to sever not only the options that weaken you, but the emotions that distort you, fear, vanity, envy, longing, because until you cut these out, you cannot see reality as it is. The Stoic does not choose based on what feels good, but on what survives the blade. The Jungian warrior does not act on the whisper of impulse, but on the hard truth that emerges once the shadow is confronted and illusions stripped. To make better decisions, you must sharpen yourself into this weapon, asking not, what should I add, but what must I remove? Every false path is pruned, every distraction slain, every comfort sacrificed until what remains is bare, undeniable, and true. Write it now in the comments. I cut to clarity. Mark it, because the moment you speak it, you remind yourself that you are not here to decorate your life with pretty lies. You are here to carve through the noise and leave only decisions that cannot be broken. Revelation 5. The abyss stares back. Every real decision requires you to look into the abyss, and the abyss is not metaphor. It is the raw darkness of your unconscious, the shifting ocean of instincts, fears, archetypes, and wounds that wait beneath the surface of your polished mind. And Jung warned that the one who dares to gaze inward will find not comfort, but terror, because the unconscious does not flatter you. It shows you the truth, stripped of illusion, stripped of excuses, stripped of masks. To make better decisions, you must confront this abyss before you choose, because if you avoid it, you will act on half-truths, on projections, on impulses that are not yours, but the abyss playing you like a puppet. The Stoics trained themselves to face death daily, not because they were obsessed with mortality, but because looking into the abyss of death purified their choices, cut through the trivial, revealed what mattered. Jung's abyss is different, but parallel. When you face the unconscious, when you face the repressed, when you face the dark forces inside you, your decisions become heavier, sharper, more real, because you are no longer deciding as a child pretending at freedom. You are deciding as one who knows what waits below. The abyss will always stare back, and if you flinch, it owns you. But if you hold your ground, you master it. This is the crucible of true decision-making, to stand before the chaos inside and carve a path anyway. Comment now. I do not flinch before the abyss. Claim it, because when you declare it, you begin to turn terror into clarity, and every choice you make afterward carries the weight of one who has already looked into the dark and refused to turn away. Revelation 6. The weight of fate. Every decision you make is chained to something greater than you, and the illusion of absolute freedom is what weakens you, because you believe you can bend reality to your will. Yet Jung and the Stoics both remind you that you are never free from fate. You are only free in how you respond to it. Amor fati, the love of fate, is not passive acceptance. It is the fiercest way to decide, because when you embrace necessity, you stop wasting energy on wishing for different circumstances and instead carve power from what is. Jung saw the psyche as entangled in archetypes, collective forces that move you like currents in a vast sea, and unless you recognize these currents, you will drown, believing your decisions are sovereign when they are already being pulled by fate. Better decision-making is not about escaping destiny, it is about choosing as if you have already accepted it, about deciding with the full weight of inevitability pressing on you, because when you stop resisting what must be, you cut away fantasy and act with terrifying clarity. The Stoics sharpened themselves on this truth. If a storm comes, you do not curse the sky, you decide how to stand in the rain. If death looms, you do not weep for endless days, you decide how to live in the shadow of the inevitable. Jung's demand was the same. Do not hide from what your unconscious demands you face, for it will come whether you like it or not. Real choice is forged not in denial, but in acceptance that is so complete it turns into strength. Write this in the comments now. I embrace the weight of fate, because once you own it, your decisions are no longer fragile wishes. They are carved from the bedrock of necessity itself. Revelation 7. The death of certainty. You want certainty, but certainty is the slow poison of the soul, because decisions made in the pursuit of guarantees are not decisions at all. They are bargains with fear, and Jung revealed that the unconscious thrives on this fear, feeding you illusions of control while ensuring you remain chained to hesitation. The truth is that every decision is a gamble. Every step into the future is a wager with chaos, and if you demand certainty before acting, you will never act. You will rot in paralysis while life devours you. The Stoics knew this intimately. They trained themselves to live as if fortune were always shifting, as if tomorrow could betray them. And they decided anyway with courage, not because they expected certainty, but because they scorned it. Jung's psychology teaches that the unconscious will never hand you a perfect map. At best, it will hand you symbols, fragments, dreams, impulses, shadows, all partial, all incomplete, and you must learn to act within that incompleteness, to stand in the dark and still move forward. To make better decisions, you must kill the craving for certainty, because certainty is a phantom that will bleed you dry while promising safety it can never deliver. Instead, decide with awareness of the risk, embrace the abyss of not knowing, and recognize that the weight of your choice is precisely what gives it meaning. The one who accepts uncertainty becomes untouchable, because while others delay waiting for guarantees, you cut through chaos like a blade, unafraid of the gamble. Write this now in the comments. I choose without certainty. Declare it, because once you stop needing the comfort of guarantees, your choices become unstoppable acts of power, and nothing, not fate, not fear, not failure, can paralyze you again. Revelation 8. The untouchable mind. To make decisions that cannot be broken, you must first become untouchable in your mind, because every hesitation, every collapse of will, every compromise you regret, begins not in the world, but in your inner fortress. And if that fortress has cracks, if you let emotions storm through its gates unchecked, then every decision you make will be hijacked by moods, by impulses, by the weak tides of fleeting states. Jung knew that the unconscious is not gentle. It surges upward with instincts, with complexes, with archetypal storms that demand control of your actions. And unless you hold the inner ground with discipline, you will be dragged by these forces like a leaf in the wind. The Stoics spoke of apatheia, not numbness, but mastery. the refusal to let external events dictate the soul's equilibrium. And this is where untouchability begins. When insult does not stir you, when loss does not shatter you, when praise does not inflate you. For better decisions are born only in stillness, and stillness comes from training yourself to remain untouched. You cannot silence the unconscious, but you can anchor yourself so deeply that when its shadows rise, they do not control you. You study them, you recognize them, you absorb their truth without surrender. In this, Jungian integration and Stoic detachment converge. You face the darkness inside without fear, and you face the chaos outside without trembling. Imagine what it means to decide from that state. Your emotions raging yet powerless to distort you, your desires screaming yet unable to sway you, the world tempting you yet unable to move you from the axis of your being. This is untouchability, and once you taste it, every choice becomes clear, surgical, unbreakable. While others hesitate, you act. While others collapse, you stand. Write it now in the comments. My mind is untouchable. Declare it, because once you claim it, you remind yourself that storms cannot move mountains, and the mountain you are becoming will decide with the force of eternity itself. Revelation 9. The eternal return. Every decision you make echoes across the whole of your life, and Jung understood this with terrifying clarity. The psyche does not simply move forward, it circles, it repeats, it returns, dragging you through the same patterns, the same conflicts, the same mistakes, until you learn what the unconscious demands you to face. This is the true meaning of the eternal return, not a mystical idea of time looping forever, but the psychological reality that what is unresolved in you will come back again and again, disguised as fate, until you confront it and choose differently. Look carefully at your life. Do you not see the repetition already? The same kind of relationships ending in the same kind of betrayal, the same ambitions collapsing under the same weight, the same excuses whispered into your ear each time you were about to act with courage. This is not accident. This is not random. This is the unconscious pulling you back into the cycle, and if you fail to recognize it, you will keep reliving the same destiny endlessly. Jung taught that integration is the only way to break the repetition. When you make the unconscious conscious, when you claim the shadow as your own, when you accept responsibility for the darkness inside, the pattern shatters and your decision finally becomes free, not a reflex of fate, but an act of will. The Stoics too would recognize this truth. They warned that unless you cut away illusions and decide with clarity, you are doomed to waste your life on trivial repetitions. To make better decisions, you must ask yourself the most haunting question before you act. If I had to live this choice not once, but endlessly, if I had to carry its weight across my entire existence, would I still decide the same way? This question burns away the shallow, the cowardly, the false, and what remains is the decision aligned with your deepest truth. Most people recoil from this thought because it forces them to admit that their lives are filled with choices they would not want to relive. But you must not turn away, because the unconscious does not forgive avoidance. It will keep dragging you back until you finally act in alignment with your soul. To face the eternal return is to face your cycles and finally decide as one who refuses to repeat regret. From this moment on, you must live as though each choice is eternal, as though each act seals itself into the marrow of your life, because in truth, it does. Now write it in the comments. I break the cycle and choose as if forever. Carve it into your being, because once you declare it, you begin to shatter the wheel of unconscious repetition and step into decisions that no longer bind you to the past, but launch you into a future forged by clarity, courage, and unbreakable will. Revelation 10. The final transformation. This is where everything converges, where the shadows, the masks, the illusions, the endless cycles collapse into one truth. You have always been afraid of making the wrong decision, but the wrong decision was never the one you feared. It was the decision made without you, the decision made by your shadow, by your mask, by the noise of the world, by the weakness that demanded certainty, by the chaos you refused to face. That was the only mistake. Jung devoted his life to showing that until you integrate the unconscious, until you face what is hidden, you will never decide. You will only be decided by forces beyond you, and every path you walk will feel like fate closing in on you. The Stoics too demanded the same rigor, to accept the inevitability of pain, of loss, of death, and yet still choose with discipline, clarity, and indifference to the trivial. What unites them is this brutal, liberating reality. Better decisions are not about having more information, or perfect timing, or divine signs. They are about becoming the kind of person who cannot be moved, who cannot be deceived, who cannot be broken by fear, illusion, or uncertainty. This is your final transformation. To stand as one who does not wait for clarity, but creates it, who does not ask for guarantees, but acts as though each choice will echo forever, who does not flee the shadow, but integrates it and turns it into power. To live this way is to kill the old self, the self who hesitated, the self who feared, the self who chose for others, and to be reborn as one who is untouchable. Imagine the weight of that life. No decision shallow, no choice wasted, every act a deliberate carving into eternity, every path walked with the authority of one who has seen the abyss and chosen anyway. This is not fantasy, this is the only path, and it is now in front of you. But to step onto it, you must decide, right here, right now, that you will never again allow yourself to be ruled by shadows, by masks, by chaos. You must decide that hesitation dies tonight. You must decide that every choice you make from this moment forward will be carved from clarity, necessity, and strength. This is the vow of transformation, and if you take it, you will never be the same again. Write it in the comments now. I become untouchable. Mark it, because when you declare it, you seal this transformation. You bind yourself to the path that Jung and the Stoics demand, and you step across the threshold where you are no longer at the mercy of life. You are the one shaping it. If this has spoken to you, if you feel the weight and the fire of what you have just been given, then do not let it vanish into the abyss of forgotten videos. Like this now, subscribe and turn on notifications, because you are not here to be entertained, you are here to be transformed, and the work begins only if you commit to it.